Message to neurotypical wives out there. Have you ever wondered, how can I tell when my autistic husband has felt like a failure in marriage for so long that he's actually just given up? Okay, well, in this video, we're going to take a deep dive on that. Stay tuned, because at the very end, I've got some tips to pull yourself out of this loop. It doesn't usually happen in a single moment, not with a slammed door, not with a fight, not even with an anniversary forgotten. It happens quietly over time. Your autistic husband doesn't leave the marriage all at once. He retreats inch by inch, breath by breath, until one day you realize that while his body is still home, his heart has gone missing. For many men on the autism spectrum, marriage can feel like a never-ending test that they keep failing. Despite genuine effort, good intentions, and deep love, they're often told, directly or indirectly, that their way of connecting isn't enough. And over the years, those small daily messages of failure accumulate until one day he simply stops trying. So let's unpack this in a series of phases. Phase 1. The silence is no longer protective, it's final. In the early years, silence might have been his coping mechanism. When conflict hit, he withdrew to regulate, to calm his nervous system and avoid saying something hurtful. That kind of silence, while painful, still had hope inside it. It was a pause, not a full stop. But when a man has reached emotional burnout, his silence changes tone. It's heavier, longer. It's no longer about self-regulation. It's about surrender. You feel the difference. He no longer circles back to finish the conversation, to repair, or to reconnect. He doesn't cool off. He just goes cold. Phase 2. He avoids connection even when you offer it gently. There was a time when he wanted to bridge the gap, but didn't know how. Maybe he'd sit next to you while you watched TV, or offer to fix something around the house, and that was his version of I care. Now he sidesteps even small opportunities for closeness. You invite him for a walk, he says he's tired. You reach out for a talk, he changes the subject. You share a vulnerable feeling, and he stares blankly or gives a short, dismissive answer. This isn't cruelty, it's defense. He's learned painfully that connection equals failure. Every attempt has ended with him misunderstood, criticized, or shut down, so his brain concludes, better not to try at all. Phase 3. His special interests become his safe harbor and his escape. Where connection with you once brought comfort, his focus shifts fully to what he can master. You'll see him spending more hours in his hobbies, technology, work, or online spaces. These are not just interests to him anymore. They're places of refuge. Why? Because in those zones, he feels competent. He understands the rules. The feedback is predictable, and there's no emotional minefield. In the marriage, he feels chronically incompetent. No matter how hard he tries, he gets it wrong. So he retreats into the one world where he still feels like a success. Phase 4. You no longer see effort, just maintenance. There's a profound difference between coexisting and connecting. When an autistic husband has emotionally given up, he'll often still show up functionally and go to work, handle bills, fix things when they break. But the emotional labor stops. There's no curiosity about your day, no interest in shared experiences, no effort to repair or apologize. It's not laziness or cruelty. It's learned helplessness. He has tried and failed so many times that his nervous system now tells him, don't even start, you'll only make things worse. Phase 5. You feel invisible and he feels irrelevant. In the neurodiverse marriage, both partners often reach a mirrored kind of despair. The neurotypical wife feels unseen, unheard, and uncared for. The autistic husband feels inadequate, rejected, and unloved. Each interprets the other's pain as indifference. She thinks he doesn't care anymore. He thinks I'll never be what she needs. In truth, both parties are grieving the same thing. A marriage that once held promise, but now feels like an endless loop of misunderstanding. Phase 6. His words reveal hopelessness. When he does speak about the relationship, listen closely. You might hear any of the following. You'll never be happy with me. I'm just not relationship material. No matter what I do, it's wrong. I can't do emotions like you. Now, these aren't excuses. They're confessions of defeat. He's stopped arguing because, in his mind, the verdict is already in. He's guilty of being too much, not enough, or simply wrong. Hopelessness sounds calm, even rational, but underneath it lies quiet despair. Phase 7. He's polite, but not present. When he's reached emotional shutdown, you'll notice surface-level civility. He might still say thanks, or sure, or good night, but there's no felt connection. It's the voice of someone performing the role of husband, not inhabiting it. This is the moment that breaks most neurotypical wives. Not the anger, not the arguments, but the absence of aliveness. The sense that he's no longer in the marriage, just around it. To the outside world, it might look like he doesn't care, but inside, he's drowning in shame. Every attempt to meet your needs, to express affection, to understand emotional nuance, has ended in perceived failure. Eventually, shame becomes unbearable, and the nervous system does what it always does under threat. It shuts down. He hasn't stopped loving you. He's stopped believing he's capable of loving you in a way that matters. Think of one area where your husband used to try, even awkwardly, to connect. What might it look like to acknowledge that past effort, not as failure, but as evidence of love in his language? So when your autistic husband stops trying, it's not the end, it's a signal that he's overwhelmed, ashamed, and convinced he's unfixable. But connection isn't about perfection. It's about creating safety for two wounded people to try again, gently, slowly, and without keeping score. Because sometimes the bravest thing an autistic man can do after years of feeling like a failure is risk trying just one more time. If you are in a neurodiverse marriage where one spouse is autistic and the other one is not, and you've been struggling for years and years, and you're kind of sick and tired of the routine, talk to me. Use me as your personal coach. I have groups, and I keep these groups small so that you can get a lot of one-on-one attention. I have 3 Q&A groups, one for ASD husbands, one for neurotypical wives, and I have a couples group where both spouses can attend. I also have 2 instructional groups, Cassandra Syndrome Recovery Group, to help you cultivate some strategies to recover from years of emotional deprivation, and the Men's Masterclass, in which we take a deep dive on developing social skills and emotional literacy in the context of the neurodiverse marriage. We meet 1 hour a week for 4 weeks. So how much longer are you willing to wait? Would you like to schedule a paid private coaching session? This will be in the form of a face-to-face Zoom call. Underneath any of my videos, you'll see this Calendly link. If you click on that link, it'll open up my calendar. You can pick the available days and times that works for your schedule. You'll get a follow-up email immediately after purchasing a session that will have the Zoom link that coincides with the day and time that you picked. I will get an email too that you scheduled a session, and I will be available on that exact day and time, and we will talk. I look forward to working with you.